Well, thank you so much. Separate doors, y'all.
Thank you so much.
Michael Scotty Scott.
Yeah, we love you, y'all.
And Mr. Devin Thompson,
diggity,
ladies and gentlemen.
No doubt. Play on, play it. Play on, play it. Yo, I'm about to drop the verse. It's going down, fade to Black Street. The homies got RB collab creation. Bump like acne, no doubt. I put it down, never slouch. As long as my credit can vouch, a dog couldn't catch me straight up. Tell me who can stop a Scott making move. Attracting honeys like a magnet. Giving them eargasms with my mellow accent. Still moving this flavor with my homies, the Chicago Cats. The original rum shaker.
Gotta get down, good Lord. Baby got me on that all over time. Strictly bitch, we don't play around. Cover much ground, got game by the round. Getting paid is a forte, each and every day. True play away. I can't get out of my mind.
Wow.
I think about them girls all the time.
Wow, wow.
East side to the west side, pushing fat rice. It's no surprise. She got tricks in the stash, stacking up the cash. Fast when I come to the dance, y'all. Not for me, average. It's on when she got the habit. Baby, you're a perfect 10. I wanna get in. Can I get down so I can win? Like the way you work it. No diggity. You gotta bag it up. I like the way you work it. No diggity. You got to bag it up, y'all. I like the way you work it, baby. No diggity. You gotta bag it up. I like the way you work it, yeah.
She's got class and style, street knowledge by the pound. Baby never act wild, very low key on a profile. Catching feelings in the nose, let me tell you how it goes. Curves the word, spins the verb, lovers it curves so free, but you heard. Rolling with the fact is, you don't even know what the half is. You got to pay to play, just for shorty bang bang to look your way. I like the way you work it, trump tight all day, every day. You're blowing my mind, maybe in time. Baby, I can get you in my eyes. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it. No diggity.
Y'all make me feel like we're in a nightclub somewhere. I don't. Can we turn the lights out a little bit? It makes me more comfortable. Ladies, where are ladies at tonight? Where are all the ladies at tonight? Fellas, I want you to close your ears. I'm not talking to you. Ladies, I want to let you know something. If you got a man and he ain't treating you right, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to call me, baby. I said, I want you to call me, baby. Yeah. I'm gonna say it one more time. Listen. If your man ain't acting right, this is what I want you to do. Just give me your keys. I'll come through the back door. When your man comes home, I'll sneak right out. I'll sneak out the front door. I got me some keys, man. I got some keys. I don't know where you live. Just give me the key card. I know you're in a hotel somewhere, right? Come on, y'all, sing with me. Just hold on. Hold on. Just hold on, sing. Hold on. Just hold on. 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 Hold on. Just a little while longer. Just a little while longer. It's a little while longer. It's a little while longer. It's a little while longer. Just hold on. Just hold on. Just hold on. Just hold on. I'm on my way. 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 Just a little while longer. 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 Just hold on. Hold on. 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 I'm on my way. 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 Just a little while longer. 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 A Y'all stop playing with that.
Mr. Devin Thompson, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, People's Summit. Let's give a round of applause for the Chicago Cats Band. Yep. Now, please welcome Jim Hightower.
Hello, people. Hello, summiters. Hello, revolutionaries. Thank again the Chicago Cats Band. How about that? Terrific stuff. Roseann Demoro asked me to be your welcoming speaker, so welcome to all of you corporate greed whackers and right-wing butt kickers here tonight. Welcome back to the People's Summit, the one political gathering in America that is of, by, and for, guess who? The people. Look around this room here tonight. See who's not here. We are corporate-free, lobbyist-free, and fat cat-free. Indeed, we're a room full of romping, stomping, unapologetic, unbought, grassroots, progressive agitators. And as Jesse Jackson, one of the great progressive political leaders of our lifetime, put it some years ago, he said, be an agitator. Remember that the agitator is that center post in the washing machine that gets the dirt out. That's what we're after, right there. Be an agitator. Just makes me happier than a flea at a dog show to be standing up here looking out at so many of you who are organizing, mobilizing in practically every zip code in America to reclaim the people's democracy. I come to you not just from Austin, Texas, but from South Austin, And on the south side, we're a little more irreverent, iconoclastic, a little more of an attitude. In fact, our unofficial slogan on the south side is, we're all here because we're not all there. Well, I think we're all here because the powers that be are not at all there in terms of grasping the essential notion that we're supposed to all be in this together. So we're not merely out to thump Trump, but to take on the entire power structure of the bosses, taking on the bosses, the bankers, the big shots, the bastards, and the bullshitters who are imposing their plutocracy, autocracy, and kleptocracy over us. A year ago, in the first People's Summit here in Chicago, in this very hall, I gave the closing address, urging that we stay connected as we would then spread out across the country to work on the possibility of bringing genuine grassroots democracy to America. You might remember back then that the corporate, the media, the political powers that be scoffed at us, as they had scoffed at Bernie Sanders, saying, "But they can't win, they can't stay united, they can't last a month." But here we are. We're back, stronger than ever, feistier than ever, on the move. As my friend who's been a pioneer in the organic movement put it to me, he said, "Hightower, those who say it can't be done should not interrupt those who are doing it." That would be you. We're the ones doing it. Grassroots people. Not just surviving, but thriving now, gone from the possibility of revolutionary change to the probability of it. Indeed, you've already created winning coalitions from coast to coast, California to Massachusetts, but also in the red states. In the red states. Nebraska, Wyoming, even, for God's sake, Texas. We've established Our Revolution Texas as the first official designee of the Our Revolution organization nationwide. We're working with Wisconsin and Massachusetts and Maryland, the other three states that have moved forward on having state commissions there, and we're moving. We're already winning, actually. In recent elections, we had 12 people elected. One's here, Julianne Nitch is here. She's now on the community. She ran in about a six-way race or so and ran second in the primary for that seat, in the initial election for that seat, but ran kind of a downside, on the downside of the ballot there and the numbers, but then came back in the runoff, and the Bernie-crats got involved, and she won 60% of the runoff vote. Julianne Nitch, now on the community board. We just elected an 18-year-old senior in the high school in Pearland, Texas, a suburb of Houston. He defeated the president of the school board, 18 years old. He's on the school board. This is happening all across America, all across America. We're putting it together. We're winning. So my message to you, and I'm sure you're wondering what it is by now, is just keep on keeping on, only more so. It's not enough for us to be progressive. We've been progressive for a long time. We've got to become aggressive again and get in the face of power. As we say in Texas, our politics needs to be hotter than high school love. Sure, that means, as the bumper sticker puts it, resist. We've got to resist Trump, that pendejo. Running, ask your Spanish-speaking neighbor about that. Running an absolute freak show in Washington, D.C. Every time I hear his latest tweet message, I think, 100,000 sperm and you were the fastest? That can't be possible. But resist is not enough. We need what I call a RIP approach, R-I-P approach. R, resist. I, insist on our boldest Bernie agenda. And P, persist in organizing to win that agenda, to enact it into law. So I leave you with this thought. When I first moved to Austin, Texas, eons ago, there was a moving company there. It had an advertising slogan that I liked. It wasn't one of these big chain moving companies. It was a couple of guys with a truck. I think they were called Skeeter and Booger, something like that. Skeeter and Booger's moving company, you know. And they just had a small operation, but they had a big attitude. And it had an ad in the Yellow Pages back then that said, if we can get it loose, we can move it. That's what we're talking about, isn't it? Get it loose at the grassroots level, and the people will move it for themselves. That's what we're about. We're gaining on the bastards. We can win. We can restore America to its own people. Resist, insist, persist. Thank you all for what you are doing. I'm proud to work with you. All right.
We have taken on corporate America. We have taken on the National Association of Manufacturers. We have taken on the pharmaceutical industry. We have defeated the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
We went into the race starry-eyed for Bernie. We ended up with someone that represents the complete opposite of the values that we hold dear.
It's frustrating, it's difficult, it's angering. We have all sorts of issues about election integrity to clear up in this country.
I think as a black queer person in the movement for Black Lives, I'm scared. There's no other way to say it.
Destruction of jobs and pollution are caused by corporate desire to privatize profits and socialize costs. Pollution and other environmental destruction more negatively affect the working class, communities of color, and indigenous people than the white, the wealthy, and the privileged.
But I want you to take solace in these words. We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. The valley may be lower, but we've been here before.
We know that, violence happens to black and brown bodies. This is nothing new. This has been happening for 400 years in this country.
Indigenous people have been surviving 500 plus years of colonization and attempts to exterminate us, and we have resisted 500 plus years.
We don't take the word resistance lightly. That's an historic word from the civil rights movement.
We have fought, and so many brave people have died in the struggle, or been beaten, or went to jail.
This, for us, is our lunch counter moment for the 21st century. 100 years from now, we won't be here, and neither will the guy in the White House. But what will be here will be our resistance.
It isn't about who's in the White House, it's about who's in the streets.
It's been 100 days of resistance, starting with the Women's March on Washington, which is the largest single-day protest in U.S. history, and we've been resisting ever since.
No ban, no wall. Just from history, we can all agree that building walls and shutting doors is not the answer.
That's right.
The answer is to show compassion and be the example. If we want to live in a humane world, we have to be humane.
What is the resistance? I know what this town wants you to think it is. They want you to think, oh, it's just against Trump. And once we get rid of Trump, great, we go back to the status quo. No.
If we're going to push back against no advantage in pushing back towards a moderate agenda, we have an opportunity to make a stronger left and fight for actually progressive values.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
village was created in response to the murder of Trayvon Martin, and as a way for young black and brown people to take ownership around how their lives are impacted by the system and how we can create a democracy that works for us.
We work with college students, we work with community organizers.
We stand for Black lives, we stand for immigrant rights and LGBTQ rights and women's rights are human rights.
It's addressing every single ism and phobia that sadly gets us down. We ran a campus worker justice campaign and an international solidarity campaign. Our campus worker justice campaign right now is working with our dining hall workers as they are getting ready for contract negotiations.
Nurses will also continue to rise as workers, fighting to end right-to-work laws aimed at crushing unions.
If it hadn't been for the union, I wouldn't have had health insurance, I wouldn't have had the livelihood and the scholarships that got me to college, where I was able to organize with USAS.
For international solidarity, we got our school to cut their contract with Nike. Every year we support the Fight for 15 actions going on.
We really want to be able to facilitate lobbying on the Hill for other chapters, and that's going to be our focus moving forward.
We train people to write testimony, to show up and testify, and then follow up with legislators for bills that aren't heard.
As we educate people about how to succeed, is to making sure that our spaces are inclusive, that they're diverse, and that people feel welcome there.
No one is free until we are all free.
All of these different struggles are connected, and we can't just focus on one because that's not getting to the root of the problem.
Some of it is about racism, a lot of it. Some of it's about capitalism. We do need an economic system that actually takes care of people.
Whether we were born in this country or not, we're all affected by this economic system which relies on our labor in some form to continue.
I like to think that we're a society and not a market.
The protesters reenacted the story of Jesus overturning the tables of the money changers in the temple and redistributing wealth to the common people.
13 clergy members are detained during a protest against Governor Rauner's proposed budget cuts.
They blocked traffic in the financial district carrying signs that read, "What would Jesus cut?" They urged the governor to raise taxes on corporations and the wealthy rather than make cuts to education and public services that help the poor.
We're planning to take our march to Governor Rauner's billionaire buddies and to expose that they're the ones that are profiting from how the budget is formed right now.
Greed is making America sick.
How many people in this room believe that health care is a human right?
Healthcare in this country is a profit-making industry.
Deductibles that are $4,000 to $6,000.
If you have no insurance, you are screwed.
SB 562 is the Healthy California Act, which guarantees health care for all Californians, no matter what their status is.
Those who are in support in concept, if they can just stand.
These are about 300 folks that are representative of our coalition. Over 1,000 people up and down the state came to Sacramento today. We've got some overflow in the convention center. So I just want to let you know how serious we are about this issue.
Millions of people are hurting. We've never had a moment like this. I've been a nurse for 46 or 7 years, and I have been fighting that long for a single-payer system.
I cannot overstate how huge of a deal it would be for the largest state in the country to say, we're going to do single-payer healthcare system. It is revolution.
Whose revolution? Whose revolution?
We must advocate for clean water, from Flint to Standing Rock.
And the fact today that we roll back the Clean Water Act, and folks in Flint still don't have clean water. The fact that we can look at the Clean Air Act, and we have so many children, particularly black and brown children, who are dealing with asthma. And so we must push forth. I don't care who you are, Republican or Democrat. This is about humanity.
We must have a legacy where we can leave clean water, safe food, and clean air for our children.
If we're going to save people on the planet and work at all of these other issues, we got to get dirty blood money out of politics.
It's not just the Republicans, it's the Democrats. The Democrats took just as much money from oil and gas over the last 2 years as the Republicans did.
Both political parties, through
the working class and middle class and poor and racial minorities under the bus in every country throughout the West over the past 30 years, and both political parties now have no standing.
We are here to tell the Democratic Party that they should listen to their base.
If you dismiss progressive values and reinforce the dynamic status quo, don't assume the activists in California or around this country are going to stay with the Democratic Party.
Do you all feel as if you need to put your efforts behind making the Democratic Party successful?
I think that they think we can't chew gum and walk. They say, well, you can't go after Democrats. We have Trump. No, we can do both.
We're getting organized. We're building community. We're learning from each other. We're showing up for each other.
We're building a really basic political skill that we can use.
We can replicate that for things like rent control, police violence, and all sorts of other fights that we all want to win, but we're not going to win them until we all start working together.
We can stop the madness that we're seeing in our country right now if and only if we stand together.
We'll be continuing to grow, build, and love upon each other.
Keep up the fight, stand together, stand strong, and we will win this fight. All power! All power! All power! All power! Let's go get them, people.
How's everybody doing tonight? You're a political revolution. How are you guys doing tonight? So my name is Linda Sarsour. I'm a racial justice and civil rights activist from Brooklyn, New York. I'm the co-founder of EmpowerChange.org and one of the national co-chairs for the Women's March on Washington. And I'm here today because I am fired up. Y'all fired up? I'm also here because I will not be silenced. You will not be silenced. I am here because I will not be intimidated. You will not be intimidated. I'm here today unapologetically Muslim American because I have every right to be unapologetically Muslim American. I'm also here unapologetically Palestinian American because God blessed me. I'm also here because Black Lives Matter. And our undocumented sisters and brothers should be treated with dignity and respect. I'm also here because our LGBTQIA sisters and brothers need to feel safe in all spaces. I'm also here because Muslims deserve to worship freely in these United States of America. I'm here because we all deserve a fair share. We also deserve single-payer health care. We all deserve not just to survive, but to thrive in these United States of America. I'm also here because we were never outnumbered. We were just out-organized. So I'm here to out-organize those who stand in opposition to our values and our principles. I'm here to build a political revolution that centers the most marginalized communities amongst us. I'm here to build with all of you so we can truly send a message that we are the majority. I'm also here because we can't talk about racial justice without talking about economic justice. You can't talk about without talking about environmental justice. You can't talk about environmental justice without talking about poverty and reproductive rights and religious freedom. I'm here because I want to build an intersectional movement that does not ask anybody to leave any part of their identity behind, that you welcome us all with all of our identities and all of our issues to the table. I'm here because Audre Lorde told us that we cannot have struggles because we do not live single issue lives. So y'all ready to out-organize the opposition? I don't believe you. Are you guys ready to out-organize the opposition? All right. So over the next 3 days, I want you to do 3 things. Y'all ready? Because we're not just here to hang out. First, I want you to show gratitude to any of the National Nurses United staff that you see anywhere in this building. I want you to show gratitude to all the security officers and all the workers that are in this building. I want you to show up at the different programs and trainings that are happening because people worked hard to provide a program that is going to give us all the skills, resources, and tools to continue to ignite this political revolution. I also want you to build transformative relationships. Give out your phone number, give out your email, get to know one another. You know why? Because we can only protect one another if we know one another.
Note to self, never follow Linda on a program. Again. Hi, everyone. I apologize for my voice. I've been a little under the weather. My name is Jean Ross. Obviously, I have family here. I'm a registered nurse from Minnesota and president for National Nurses United. And why do I find myself here today? I find myself here because I got no other place to go. This is the only place where I have real family. We are brothers, we are sisters, we are fighting for the same thing. I recognized as a nurse years ago that what my patients and family members were saying about how poorly their lives were going, and it was getting worse, was not going to be changed just by what I did through my union in the hospital. I couldn't continue to patch them up at the hospital every day and send them out into a world where sometimes they didn't have a home to go back to, where they didn't have any insurance to back them up to do the care that they needed when we gave the discharge instructions. This is not the world I was born into. This is not the world that we should expect for our children and grandchildren. And so work, thank you. What I did through work brought me into the labor movement, floundering though it was, and to the decision that we have to do something. We have to do something with our political system. I have to do what I can do as a nurse and as president of our organization. And I was bound and determined to do it. So here I am amongst you all again, and I'm glad to see you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Deborah Berger. I'm also a president of the National Nurses United. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you again on the 2nd anniversary of the People's Summit. And it's really interesting. As a nurse, we have a very different perspective on life and death and how we relate to our communities. And when we were very, very out there with the Bernie campaign, when we were out there on the issues with no Keystone Pipeline, no DAPL, no pet coke plants, all of those issues, they kept asking, why are nurses involved in this? And it's like, why the hell not? We live in these communities, right? So The other thing is that they talk about single issues. Well, why are you on this issue? You should only deal with health care. Well, if you're a nurse, you know that you look at the body holistically. You don't just look at the heart. You don't look at the lungs. You don't look at the bowels or the bladder or the brain or the spinal column, the bone system. You look at every single thing because they all are interconnected. And as our sister pointed out, they're all interconnected. You can't have a healthy life without having clean water and clean air and a safe job, a safe home. So we will always be out there on these issues because they matter to nurses as much as anyone else, because we are tired of seeing our communities ripped apart because they aren't properly funded and addressed. So thank you, and we look forward to working with you for the rest of the weekend.
So I'd rather sit, but since everybody stood, I guess I have to stand. First, my name is Peter Knowlton. I'm with the United Electrical Workers, the UE. Our union has been around since 1936, and we were one of the two unions that were attacked by the federal government, General Electric, Westinghouse, Catholic Church, a few other sundry forces, and tried to destroy us. But ourselves and the longshore workers from the West Coast are the only two surviving unions that the federal government tried to rip apart starting in the 1940s. So me speaking here is testament to the legacy of our ancestors in our union who built our union and gave us the constitutional fortitude and the politics and the principles in order for us to withstand that terrible, dark, terrible period in our own history. So I stand a testament to our ancestors in our own union. But I'd also like to recognize there were 6 other unions that endorsed Brother Sanders during last campaign. And I call him Brother Sanders because Bernie Sanders and our union go back all the way from when he was mayor in the town of Burlington, Vermont. We've supported Bernie from the beginning. So we knew Brother Sanders, and we knew that he walked the talk. There was no doubt in our mind about where he was going and the kind of positions that he would take. And there was 5 other unions other than ourselves who endorsed Bernie Sanders, and they ought to be recognized. The Amalgamated Transit Union, the American Postal Workers Union, the Communication Workers of America, the International Longshore Warehouse Union, National Nurses United, and my own union. And to all of them, we should give our thanks because we are the first unions to step out. This is a new day, sisters and brothers, and we're stepping out, and it's long past due. And we're here together because wherever there are people who want to challenge the dominant narrative, who want to challenge the dominant paradigm, who want to challenge capital, we will be here. We are also here because without workers and without ourselves and without an intensive and vibrant movement of workers organizing, and not only to better the lives of ourselves and our families, but of those of our nation and those globally. In the U.S., less than 6% of private sector workers have a union. That means 94% of American workers have no protection, no democracy in the workplace. We would suggest to everybody here, you cannot have democracy in the United States of America if you do not have democracy in the workplace. When you include the public sector, less than 13% of workers in the U.S. are organized. That hurts us. That hurts our nation. And courtesy of Blue Catering, they gave me my palette to work from. We are going to defeat the complete corporatization of our culture and our nation. But we need to distill and develop a culture of organizing, a culture of unionism, and a culture that puts the needs of the working class front and center. I would suggest to you, if we do not put the needs of workers first, the needs of everybody else come last. And that's a problem, because if you put the needs of the workers first, everybody else's needs are right there, right beside us. This is why we are here. But to do this, we need all of us to ensure that it will be happening. We need all of us to stand together and defend the right of workers to organize, to defend the right, to defend the First Amendment to this Constitution, to assembly, speech, and to defend ourselves from the 13th Amendment away from slavery and indentured servitude. Those are the constitutional principles that we need to defend, and we all can do it if we all stand together. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Maria Svart, and I'm with the Democratic Socialists of America. I'm wearing a rose, which you may have seen on Twitter, but I want to talk about the history of one of its many meanings here in the United States. Over a century ago, 40,000 women immigrant workers, textile workers, went out on strike in Lawrence, Massachusetts. They spoke over 30 languages, but in solidarity, they fought for dignity and respect and fair wages, but they understood that they were fighting not just to live, but they were fighting to thrive. And that's what we fight for in Democratic Socialists of America. We understand that we can't have bread without roses. The strike was called the Bread and Roses Strike because they were fighting for dignity and they were fighting for respect. We believe that you can't have bread and roses. You can't have bread nor roses under capitalism. We believe you have to confront capitalism to win. We believe we can't just demand a fair share of what we make. We need to demand control of what we make. So DSA, we stand in solidarity with anyone who's fighting. A few weeks ago, 40,000 AT&T workers went on strike, and DSA members joined them in over 50 picket lines across the country on 2 days' notice. Texas DSA chapters from across the state pulled together and brought 100 members to the state capitol against the racist anti-immigrant Senate Bill 4 a few weeks ago. And of course, DSA chapters in communities large and small mobilized in support of Bernie Sanders' game-changing campaign last year. So we know that we need to directly confront the ruling class. DSA has 155 chapters across the country in 48 states so far. We're going to get the last two. And we know that we need to work together to win this fight. We are here this weekend so our members can meet all of you. We're here to build the kind of relationships that it will take to fight for socialism over barbarism, because that's the only way we are going to win. And DSA members are canvassing. We have hundreds of members across the country, from Oakland to Buffalo and even in red states, canvassing for single payer alongside the nurses and other allies. And our message is quite simple. And we take, to paraphrase the message of the wonderful victory in the UK last night, yes, it was game-changing itself. We are fighting for the many, not for the few. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mark Scholsberg. I'm the organizing co-director of Food and Water Watch and its sister organization, Food and Water Action. Food and Water Action is proud to be here today, honored to be here today with all of you all, helping to organize this wonderful conference. And thank you to the nurses for really doing so much. The last few months have been months of much resistance, and there's been a lot to resist. Anybody who cares about the environment or the planet that we're living on can see that's the case. President Trump, Donald Trump, has stacked his cabinet with a bunch of climate deniers and Wall Street cronies. He's moved to approve the Keystone and Dakota Access pipelines. He's opening up public lands for exploitation and privatization, attempting to privatize our water infrastructure. And he's squeezing rural America even more. Yeah, that's right. It's really been a horrific several months, and it's going to continue, and we must continue to resist. But let's be honest, a lot of these problems existed before Trump was elected. He's made things worse, but those problems existed. Our water infrastructure was crumbling before Trump was elected. Anybody who's heard of Flint or the many other communities across the country can know that's the case. Our climate is on a disaster course before Trump was elected. Our rural communities have been squeezed by factory farming, trade, and economic consolidation before Trump was elected. These environmental problems that we face are symptomatic of larger problems in our economic and political system, and it's those problems that we need to take on together. And we know that when we take these on together, that we can win. When we organize community by community around bold policies that actually rise to the level of meeting the needs that people have, that we can win. We've seen this in water, where dozens of communities across the country have resisted privatization and kept their water systems public. And we see it in the growing movement in Flint, Atlantic City, and elsewhere across the country. We see it in rural communities, where communities are working under very challenging circumstances to build real progressive political power. And we see it on the climate, where more and more cities and counties are moving to 100% renewable energy, where places like Monterey banned fracking. In Philadelphia, where they rejected a fossil fuel expansion at their port. In the Northeast, where they rejected the Constitution and Northeast direct pipelines. And even in states that are controlled by Republicans, like Florida, you've got 80% of the state population covered by resolutions that either ban or ordinances that ban fracking. We can do this, people. So we're excited to be here today and for the next few days and to work with you all. We know that we're excited to build new coalitions and meet new people. We're excited about building strong, progressive political platforms that we can hold elected officials accountable to. And we're excited to have the clean revolution happen, the clean energy revolution happen, because we will never achieve that unless we achieve the political revolution we're all working for together. So look for Food and Water Actions, over 100 members here and staff. We want to work with you. We want to talk with you. We want to build with you. Together, we can bring on that political revolution. Thank you.
My people, how y'all doing? My name is Dante Barry. I'm with an organization called Million Hoodies Movement for Justice. Million Hoodies was started after the murder of Trayvon Martin in 2012, and today we're a human rights membership-based organization organizing young black and brown people to end anti-black racism and systemic violence. Now, I'm here because young black people across this country has taken over this country to build a transformative movement for justice and liberation. We have seen folks in Ferguson and St. Louis rise up and said hell no to the corrupt police department in St. Louis. We have seen black Chicagoans said hell no and said bye Anita after the racist cover-up of Laquan McDonald. And we're seeing young black and brown people build sanctuary, not for some, not for folks with immigration status, but for all of our communities. Because we know that black and brown communities, since we were brought here on slave ships, have never been safe. We've never been free. And so I'm here because we need a transformative intersectional movement that actually takes the leadership of those that are most impacted by the issues that impact our lives, right? We've seen folks like Linda Sarsour and Carmen Perez and Tamika Mallory and Bob Bland lead one of the most transformative movements after the inauguration of Donald Trump with the Women's March. We know that big things are possible when those that are most impacted are the ones leading the forefront of our movements. We know that when black women get free, all of us get free. We know that when black immigrants get free, we know all of us get free. So right now, we're in a challenge. We need to get our stuff together because the opposition has been working very hard to keep us down. Right now, the Republicans have control over several states to a point where we're 1 or 2 states away from another constitutional convention, which means the communities that are most impacted right now can be at even more crisis. To do. What are we going to do? And why are we here? We need to win. We need to build power. We need to change our strategies and tactics. And we need to be able to organize those folks that we haven't already been here, right? We need to stop organizing the already organized and build the base of people that we need to win, to change the conditions of our lives, and fight like hell. We also need to build freedom cities, where every town, every campus, every city needs to be free, where human beings can live with dignity and democracy for our communities. It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm going to close by just saying one little quote. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Thank you. Peace and good night, y'all.
Good evening. My name is Toby Chow, and I am a leader in People's Action. We are 1 million people in 50 community organizations in 30 states across this country, united by one belief, that it is time to put people in our planet before profits. And in order to do this, we must move from resistance to power. We live in a time of crisis. Billionaires and white nationalists have gone from lobbying the government to being the government. Now, this is an old story. Time and time again, the 1% have tried to divide us by race and nationality, to get us to point the finger at one another while they consolidate their own power. But we have found the enemy, and it is not each other. The enemy is corporate power. It is the billionaires who sow division among us while they profit off of the suffering in our communities. It is time to defeat them. It is time to take power. We have just heard about the many ways that our movement is fighting back, and we're seeing millions of people across this country stand up and speak out. Now, we know that militant, direct action is crucial to our movement. Black Lives Matter showed us that. Standing Rock showed us that. Here in Illinois, we shut down the Chicago Board of Trade building. We occupied the state capitol. And I'll tell you this, that every successful movement in history has broken the rules with militant, direct action. But we are also fighting for governing power. We know that it is not enough for us to lobby the government. It is not enough to appeal to the government. It is not enough to protest the government. The time has come for us to control the government, to be the government. So we are building a new movement politics where we are taking public office and exercising control over our own lives. And we are building a long-term agenda that puts people and planet first, an agenda for racial justice, democratic control of capital, global sustainability, and real democracy. We are committed to putting racial justice at the center of every fight, because we know that capitalism has always gone hand in hand with structural racism, and we need to stop treating economic inequality and structural racism as separate issues. So at People's Action, we are running our people as candidates on a movement slate. Candidates who campaign on a bold platform developed by the movement, candidates who then use their position in elected office to build movement organizations. We are doing this here in Chicago with Reclaim Chicago, in Aurora, Colorado with Colorado People's Action, all across Iowa with Iowa CCI Action, all across Maryland with Progressive Maryland, and all the way from Detroit to the Upper Peninsula with Michigan People's Campaign. All across this country in People's Action and across the movement, we are moving from resistance to power. Now, I grew up as the only Asian kid in my entire grade in a small, mostly white town. And in that context, to be small, to make myself small, to shrink, to protect myself. But in this movement, I've been inspired to become big. I am a movement leader, and I say that it's time for all of us, each one of us here, and together as a movement, to become big. It is time for us to take power to transform this country and this world. We need power. We want power, and we deserve power. So to close out, I'm going to start clapping. I want all of you to clap with me. And then I'm going to put my fist in the air. And then you're going to put your fist in the air with me. And when we put our fists in the air, we're going to yell power.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Carmen Perez. Woo! I am the co-founder of Justice League NYC, the executive director of the Gathering for Justice, and one of the 4 national co-chairs of the Women's March on Washington. I am truly humbled to be here with so many of you who are part of the resistance and are working towards creating the beloved community. As a fellow resistor, I, like many of you, remember the first time that I got involved in the movement. It was a beautiful day on the morning of January 21st, 1994, where I felt this feeling of doing something larger than myself. I remember walking down the aisle of St. Anthony's Church in my childhood hometown of Oxnard, California, to find balloons and a birthday cake that said, "Happy birthday, Patricia and Carmen," right next to an open casket where the body of my older sister, Patricia, would lay. Not fully grasping what was happening, I then realized that on my 17th birthday, we would be burying my older sister. For many in my family, the situation would paralyze them. But for me, it would be the catalyst that I needed to change my life. It ignited a spark in me, deep in my heart, that led me to dedicating my life and developing a passion of working with formerly incarcerated youth and girls in the system. Woo! Owning my tragedy and channeling it towards organizing in community and transforming my pain into action. For the next 20 years, yes, next 20 years, I would find myself being a youth advocate, working on creating alternatives to incarceration, being a basketball coach, a probation officer doing system accountability from within, organizing across the country for Harry Belafonte, grounding communities in Kenya nonviolence as a foundation to civic engagement and political action, leading protests and marches, one from New York City to DC, yes, I said New York City to DC, 250 miles fighting against police brutality, all preparing me to be one of the national co-chairs of the Women's March on Washington, alongside Bob Bland, Linda Sarsour, who you just saw, woo, give it up for her, Tamika Mallory, and so many women, many of you who are here, who helped coordinate the largest mobilization in history. Thank you. During our 10 weeks of planning, we learned to suspend our first judgment, to have courageous conversations that we weren't willing to have before November 8th, to understand that we as women, particularly women of color's existence, was intersectional. I'm not just standing here in front of you as a woman. I am a Chicana, Mexican-American, basketball-playing, hip-hop loving woman who grew up in a community full of violence, with one parent being from Mexico and another parent being born in Anaheim in 1924. Having family members being incarcerated while losing others to the streets. Our existence is intersectional, and we are not monolithic. There is not one way of doing things, and yes, we could bring our whole selves to these movements. We saw that with the Unity Principles, which was a policy platform for the Women's March, and described as the most radical platform in the history of America's marches. We asked so many people to get involved, but those that helped us develop that, what we asked of them was to have high impact and low ego, to step outside of their issue expertise and think about intersectionality through a gender lens. This wasn't a time for us to be divided. It was a time for us to be united. There is not one movement or issue that is greater than the other. It is not time to be playing struggle Olympics. All our movements matter, and being strategic about working together is how we're going to win. It is how we are going to build collective power. All of you here have the power to change your community, to change your state laws, to change your country. We know that together we can fight against misogyny, bigotry, Islamophobia, xenophobia, racism, ableism, police brutality, homophobia, and mass incarceration. And we know what we could produce together because we did it on January 21st, 2017, which was actually my 40th birthday. Thank you. And so I want to ask you, how many of you marched? Woo! How many of you are willing to stay in the movement? Woo! And how many of you are ready and willing to follow women of color? That's right. And so what I want to tell you is that we need you, and remember to love each other, to protect each other, because all we got to lose are our chains. Thank you very much, everyone.
Hola, mi gente. Hi, everyone. My name is Jorge Aguilar, and I'm an organizer for Food and Water Action. I'm also a climate warrior and a water warrior, fighting to protect my goddaughter in Nicaragua, to protect my family in Miami, Florida, and the communities and friends that I have built in the Chesapeake Bay region. Now, last year, our organization presented on the great fracking victory in New York, and I'm here today to share the great news that we have now banned fracking in Maryland. We did it. We did it. Now, it took 5 years of mobilizing, 5 years of people power, 5 years of knocking doors, holding rallies, making calls, and using direct action to force these state legislators to ban fracking. But we did it. Now, in this country, we're often taught that we have to face these challenges alone. And I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, this guy on stage, he's incredibly charming, has incredible power of persuasion. There's just something magical about him. So he somehow banned fracking, particularly in the front row over here. I think that's where the magnetism is strongest. But no, obviously nobody thinks that, right? No. And that is what was great about the Maryland victory, is that it was truly a grassroots victory by ordinary citizens doing extraordinary things. For those of you that don't know Food and Water Action, we are a national, grassroots, progressive environmental organization that fights to protect our food and water resources. And we were the first national organization to call for a ban on fracking nationally. Now, I said it took 5 years, and a lot of the experts didn't believe that we could actually ban fracking. But we didn't only get them to believe, we got them to join us. And Food and Water Watch was the leader in creating a coalition called Don't Frack Maryland that consisted of over 170 groups and thousands and thousands and thousands of volunteers who made all of this happen. And in the center, of course, were frontline communities from Western Maryland and from the shores of Chesapeake Bay, who were the ones who were going to have their water contaminated, who were the ones who were going to have their air polluted, and who were going to raise kids and grandkids who were going to have health consequences from when the fracking industry moved in. And they're the ones that led this fight. Now, as I said, it took 5 years, and we knew heading into this 5th year that we had most of the rank-and-file state legislators in the state already with us. But we had 2 huge obstacles: a Republican governor and a Democratic Senate president who'd been in power for 30 years. Huge obstacles. But we moved them. We did it. The anti-fracking movement did it. And in fact, the victory was sealed when a Republican governor called a press conference to say, the only thing I will accept is a fracking ban. And it was because they knew the electoral power that we had built in Maryland was going to cost seats in 2018. And that's what they were worried about. So we know that the fracking fight has been is more than just that, right? It's about the bigger political revolution we need to undertake in order to move off fossil fuels and onto renewable energy. And the reason is that climate change keeps getting more and more severe, and why my goddaughter only has access to water 3 days a week, and it's getting worse. Now, in Maryland, we are launching an aggressive campaign to make sure that the state commits to 100% renewables by 2035. But we know it's going to take a lot more of all of us to change the political reality in our country in the age of Trump. And that is why, if you are interested in pressuring your elected officials to get off fossil fuels and move on to renewable energy, I ask right now that you take out your phone and text REVOLUTION to 69866 and join me. Again, please, REVOLUTION to 69866. I know that together, we can't beat back the dark forces of moneyed interests and corporations that want to roll back our democracy and collectively create the progressive future that serves all of us. Thank you.
My name is Susan Ye. I am a proud registered nurse. It is my calling to care for people. Unfortunately, the hospital management runs a system that forces nurses to work in an understaffed and unsafe environment. They put profit before patients. As nurses, we swear an oath to advocate for our patients. We embrace that oath with pride, no matter how challenging it may be. So what does it mean to advocate for our patients? To me, it means ensuring every one of our patients is treated with highest quality of care, with respect and compassion. It means standing up for the most vulnerable to get the care they deserve. This passion for patient advocacy is undermined by management. At first, we thought it is just the evil manager assigned to supervise us. But soon, we realized that the issues are much, much broader and far more systemic than we imagined. To maximize profit, hospitals cut staffing and supplies, cut corners on safe procedures, and underpay staff, eroding our ability to provide quality care. Who gets rich? Hospitals executives, Wall Street investors, insurance companies, and others who profit off the sick and vulnerable. In this sickening corporate system, our simple commitment to patient advocacy becomes virtually impossible to live up to. It must change. At Holy Cross Hospital in Silver Spring, Maryland, my colleague and I are forming a union with National Nurses United I call it a little revolution. Management's response? Vicious union busting, including pulling us away from patient care for hours, discipline nurses, and even fire one of my colleagues just for supporting union. We learned bitter lessons that the labor laws do not effectively support the right of the worker to organize. They are actually tilled in favor of management. With Trump, the playing field is tilting even further in favor of corporate interest and against worker. By joining National Nurses United, we realize that we are transforming from an individual patient advocate to a social movement advocate. We fight for power at our hospital to joining the broader movement that National Nurses United is leading in healthcare and united with other activists in fighting to heal America and the Mother Earth. My colleagues and I are here in solidarity with all of you in saying we renew our commitment to Florence Nightingale's oath. We will advocate for the 99%. Fight for Medicare for all, single payer, free tuition for colleges, education and not jail for youth, end police brutality, save Earth, equality and respect for women, elect Bernie for president, end U.S. intervention and war overseas, bring troops home and care for them properly, end immigrant bashing, restore voting rights, and so many other issues that we must infuse with activism. As someone who is working with the mighty National Nurses United, I know that it is up to all of us to make these dreams a reality through organizing. So I invite all of you to stand with me right now. Please stand with me and say this with me. If you mess with one of us, thank you.
That's a tough act to follow. So before I start, I'm live streaming right now, and I was deciding whether to ask Josh Fox or Naomi Klein to hold the phone. I'm going to ask Naomi. Josh, you got nominated here. Don't clap him for holding the phone. He's just a dude in a hat, all right? First and foremost, before I want to pay respects to the Potawatomi, Miami, and Sac and Fox peoples whose territory we're on right now. We always have to be aware of our locality and the position we're at. We also have to be always mindful of whose land we're on and recognize the people that are still here. Hamitaki Pachante Washte Nape Chuzapido. Yushkia Wachiankapi. Dallas Goldtooth Emakiapido. Dakota Wichashta Hemta. My name is Dallas Goldtooth. I'm an organizer with the Indigenous Environmental Network. I'm Dakota from the traditional homelands of so-called Minnesota. And I was but one of thousands upon thousands of water protectors who stood against Dakota Access Pipeline in Standing Rock. Do we have any water protectors in the house? I want to recognize the countless, the thousands upon thousands who sacrificed so much to stand up with Standing Rock. I want to recognize the over 700 people who got arrested in North Dakota. I want to recognize the over 400 people who got arrested in Iowa, all in defense of water and to protect the self-determination of those communities who are standing up for themselves and asserting their sovereignty. What did we learn in Standing Rock? Well, first of all, I like to say that I don't see it as a loss because of all the good that has come out of it and the momentum that we have right now as a people. That it was merely a part of the trials and tribulations that we face on this planet on the path towards a just and renewable, sustainable world ahead. But what did we learn in Standing Rock as Morton County Police in North Dakota, dressed as soldiers, used concussion grenades, tear gas, and rubber bullets, tasers on the ranks of our peaceful protesters, as surveillance planes and helicopters flew over our heads 24/7 for 6 months? What did we learn as our rooms were bugged and our conversations on the phone and text messages and in person were being heard by private security? What did we do? What did we learn as our meetings and our gatherings and our actions were infiltrated? What did we learn as tens of thousands came across this country to support? As over 400 tribes stood with Standing Rock and sent delegations. As we sang and prayed and marched and cried and laughed in the camps night after night, celebrating just our existence and the beautiful thing that is called life. We learned a lot. We learned that when you let Indigenous people lead, tremendous action will happen. We learned that when our women and youth step up to the plate, tremendous things will occur. And we also learn that we cannot be afraid to resist. We have a world that operates as a global capitalistic system that is predicated upon the oppression of many of our people, that is based on materialism, racism, colonialism, and patriarchy. And it is those oppressive power structures that are causing many of our struggles across this planet. If we were to talk about solving our struggles, we have to talk about addressing this global capitalistic system and attack the root causes of our crises and the issues that we're fighting against, which means we have to resist. But our hope to win in this struggle for justice is embedded in our capability to evolve our resistance, to maximize our political and economic clout to such a degree that we cannot be ignored, and we're seeing that right now. As Native peoples, resistance is in our blood. 500 years of resistance against a system that is predicated upon the erasement of our culture, our language, and our songs. It's who we are. So take a lesson from us for the future of this planet and the sacred integrity of Mother Earth. We cannot be afraid to resist. We cannot be afraid to push back. We cannot be afraid to rattle the cage and demand change. There was a beautiful saying I heard in the camp, and I love this saying, is that we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. Let's live up to that. We learn in Standing Rock, what Standing Rock taught us, is that we are all downstream. That no matter our struggle, we are connected. We are connected because the source of many of our struggles are the systems of that same beast, the system of capitalism. This system is what we're fighting against. From the Gulf to Standing Rock, from Jackson to Standing Rock, from Alaska, from Ecuador, from Palestine, from Flint to Standing Rock, we stand together. We are all downstream. We must interweave our struggles. That is vital for us build a sustainable, renewable world, we have to see a just transition towards that reality. And what else did we learn from Standing Rock is that we have to reimagine the future and exert our social, political, and economic power. We learned that we can do that. Since the fight against Dakota Access Pipeline started, we have been able to divest over $4.3 billion of city investments. $82 million of personal investments out of that pipeline. That's you and us working together, exerting our economic clout as a people to change this system. Through an indigenous rights framework, we are challenging the economic paradigm of big banks and corporate power. We are moving the resources to where it really means something within our localities, within our homes. So I call on you to go to your cities, to your colleges, to your organizations, your nonprofits, and divest from fossil fuels today. In conclusion, Standing Rock was many things to many people. Standing Rock is a part of a great nation called the Oceti Sakowin, which is translated as the Seven Council Fires. Fire is something vital and sacred to all of us as human beings. It reaches way back into our genetic memory, and it brings sense of comfort and structure. But to us as Native people, and to what we saw in Standing Rock, fire also meant the future. It meant us rising together and exerting our power and recognizing our own magnificence to build that future in a healthy way. In the camps itself, there was a sacred fire. And although that fire has been extinguished, it still burns brightly today. It burns brightly in the countless pipeline fights that are happening across this country and up in Canada and all across this globe. It's burned brightly in the numerous communities across the globe who are fighting against fossil fuel extraction in their homelands. It's burning brightly in each and every one of you. And that fire cannot be put out. And together we rise, we resist, we build, and we renew our relationship to Mother Earth because we have no other option right now. We have to keep fossil fuels in the ground. We have to see a just transition to a better world for each and every one of us. So remember, we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. Let's live up to that. Thank you.
Okay, are we good? We good? All right, People's Summit. Welcome to the People's Summit, right? It's going to be an incredible time, We're having an incredible time already. I just love the community that you all have out there. And tomorrow, more and more and more. So just quickly, tomorrow morning, you have to be there on time. We're starting at... We're starting early. I believe someone will tell you, but I believe it's 8:30. Is that right? Are you with me? All right. Okay. Tomorrow night, we have incredible panels in the morning, and some really incredibly famous people among us will be on them, right? And then tomorrow evening, Bernie Sanders will be speaking right here with us. We're trying to get Jeremy Corbyn to Skype in. Should be awesome if we can pull that off. And then tomorrow night we have this amazing other thing that's going on in here we'll talk about in a minute. But I really want, I want to know why you all are here, and I know why I'm here. But, I'm just wondering, why other people are here. Like Nina Turner. Nina Turner, where are you? Why are you here? Rad. I'm here because the people are here. I'm here because we need to fight on. Say fight on. I am here, Rad, because I had the opportunity in this hall to meet some pretty incredible people, and I won't forget the young lady from Arizona with tears in her eyes. She had me crying because her mother may be deported. She was from Arizona. She was more good. Yeah. Because it's not enough just to be mad. We got to be mad and focused. We must protest and plan. We must push and breathe, and we must persevere.
Right, and we have to go beyond looking at the latest controversy, the latest crazy thing that various people might be saying, and look forward with our vision and share our vision, not focus on what's wrong, focus on what we're going to do when we take it back.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
go,
yeah.
Jane. You go.
Brad, are they doing social media? Is anybody doing hashtags?
Is anybody doing social media out there? Because we're trending on Twitter. People's Summit
Come on,
is the top
hashtag
tweet.
it now.
Hashtag, all right?
Hashtag it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, you know, we are here. One of the things that Emma Goldman said, many of you know, if I can't dance, I don't want to be part of your revolution.
Oh, are we about to dance?
No.
I have a button.
Oh, okay.
We're not dancing.
I have a button that I bought when Bernie was too serious as mayor that says, if I can't dance, I don't want to be in your revolution. And he lightened up.
Did he
A
dance?
little bit.
A little bit. Years ago.
Anyway, it's so much fun. Jane's going to have, you know, with Amy and Danny and Katrina and Naomi, they all have like this amazing panel in the morning. Plus we have David Sirota here, a lot of wonderful, Nomiki. Everybody's here. Everybody's here. The revolution's here. I mean, what happened in the nation? What happened in this nation? What happened yesterday in Britain? What a great time for the People's Summit, isn't it? Yeah. So, I don't know, you want to say anything?
Don't forget about Sunday, Rad. Don't forget.
All right, so Sunday we're going to church with Nina. So you make
Sunday
sure you're
morning, baby.
We're going to church with Nina, and then we're building the nuts and bolts of what we're doing next with Jane Sanders Institute, our revolution, your revolution, or all of our revolution. It's where the work begins. It's what's the most important thing is actually what you do on Sunday afternoon, and when we leave here, what work communities, but one powerful group. I know it, I feel it, I see it. You are incredible. And Bernie Kratz, man, don't ever let them shut your voice down. You are the future. You are the future.
That's it. That's it.
Admit it?
That's
it. Is. Yeah, don't tell us to accept the status quo. I had to tweet it yesterday. Don't tell me to change the things I can't accept. Or, no, I can't. Don't tell me to, wait a minute.
Accept the things I cannot change.
Except the thing I cannot change, I won't change. I'm going to change the things I can't accept. There it is.
There it is. That's what we're
going
to do.
And that's what we're doing, right?
We don't change
right?
it all.
But I'll tell you what, thank you all for giving the time in your life to do the political work to save our country, to make us proud. You know, our real president will be here tomorrow night to speak to us, right?
Y'all better know that. You say the real president.
Real president.
The real president.
The real president.
As in Bernie Sanders from Vermont.
Bernie Sanders from Vermont.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That Jane and Bernie just traveled internationally, and they were treated like he is the president of the United States. I don't know if you all saw all the social media on that. It was like this most remarkable thing. They sold out. Well, you tell them. It's your story.
Yeah, we went in 5 days. We went to Germany, England, Wales, and Ireland, and he did 9 events, and one sold out in 35 seconds. Every other one sold out within 2 minutes. Wow. So it was great to be there.
That was, in the words of Senator Bernie Sanders, huge. Come on, baby. So I know Rad is about to bring out somebody else that is very special to all of us. Yes. But I want you all to know this, that we have to be the ones that are hard on issues and soft on people. Now, a lot of this bullying that's going on social media about folks' mamas and dogs and cats, we got to stop all of that.
Yes.
Hard on the issues, soft on people. And I say that because we don't know who other folks love.
I have met some progressive folks whose husbands or sisters or mothers and fathers are conservative. And this one thing that I know is that they love their relatives. And so we have to be careful when we tear people down. Let's fight hard for our issues and soft on people.
Absolutely.
And we can't be the ones talking about love trumps hate. And we some of the most hateful people sometimes. I want to say this to you, sisters and brothers, that the person that is on your left and your right is the most important person here today. Because if all of us put a little extra on our ordinary, extraordinary things can happen. I just want to remind you that our mission is so high, we can't get over it. And our mission is so low, we can't get under it. And our mission is so wide, we can't get around it. So we are going to fight on. Say it with me. Fight on.
Fight on.
Fight on.
Fight on.
Fight on.
Fight on.
So we're going to bring out somebody special.
Yeah, we are. Okay,
special.
Okay, so one of the things that we really, last year at the People's Summit, one of the most incredible things that happened was the Howard Zinn People Speak. Francis Fisher, you were there. You did a beautiful job. Thank you very much. And Francis actually said to me, we're doing this again next year. We have to do this. So Francis, thank you. And I remember that very well. So a lot of you didn't attend that. I thought it was one of the most moving things that actually happened, because it's about, Howard Zinn tells the stories about people, your voices, people like you, who basically speak truth to power, who basically stand up. They rebel. They're visionaries. They're those folks. And because it was so moving and so profound, and there's so many great actors and actresses. John, are you doing this with us tomorrow night, I hope? I hope you're doing it. I hope you're doing it. You're an actor. All right. All right. That's good. It's good. That's how we organize. Yeah. We always say heroes aren't made, they're cornered.
That's it.
All right.
That's it.
So,
we got no Miki out there, too.
yeah, we do have no Miki out there.
We got no Miki out there.
Yeah, no Miki. Where are you? Ain't
Sure,
no Miki.
no Miki is in the house.
Why are you here? Are you in the house? Why are you here?
My
Come on,
mic's
the
off.
twins. Okay.
Why am I here? Because look at this. This is the movement. This is the moment we've been waiting for. Our grandparents have been fighting for this. Our parents have been fighting for this. We are here supporting each other, and we finally have the numbers to take control, and we have a whole generation at our back that I am so excited about, because that's the future, and you guys are leading it, so thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
Brad,
I love Nomiki. She's like, if you want to get into it on social media, you get into it with Nomiki, right?
But, Rad, before we bring out the special person you're going to bring out, I think we need to tell the family about the stats here tonight, about how diverse we are. And come
Go
on,
ahead.
let's talk about that.
Yeah, we can. Okay, so...
we just making it up as we go.
Yeah, well, so... I'm trying to figure out how to say this.
We
I want to make sure I'm
from
politically correct, because I'll get killed by
here,
this group.
They're 17 to 87. We have...
the ages. Y'all following that? Ages 17.
Oh, okay.
Right, to 87.
What else would it be?
Is that what you're
other
saying?
than ages?
I'm just saying. Okay. Go ahead, Dr. J.
Yeah. Go ahead, Nina. We'll tell you tomorrow. We'll tell you tomorrow. I promise.
We need to bring out...
But it is pretty amazing. It is pretty amazing. So,
but
yeah,
very
you can tell the
diverse.
professor among us, right? She's like, can you two get in order? He's like,
54% of the folks here
are not white.
And 49 states. 49 states are represented.
49 states represented. Now y'all tell them to go run tell that, okay? Tell them that the People's Summit is diverse as hell, okay? We diverse. Because when they write the headlines, I want them to know there's some African American folks in the house. Come on, shout it out. When they talk about it, I want them to know our Latino sisters and brothers are in the house. When they tell the story that our Native American sisters and brothers are in the house. When they shouted out that our Asian sisters and brothers are in the house. I just want them to get it right.
Well, the other thing is, the largest group here, now tell me how it is.
Drum roll.
Yeah, drum roll. Guess what?
Yeah.
Under 35.
Under 35. Hello.
Yeah. And you know what? You're the future.
Yeah.
You're the future.
You're
Don't
the
ever
future.
let people in my generation tell you you don't know what you're talking about, because by and large, they're the ones who messed this country up.
Yeah.
So, right?
By and large.
Yeah.
By and large.
By and large.
By and large.
By and large.
Okay.
By and large.
Anyway.
By and large.
Get in
Meanwhile,
order here,
back at the
Nina.
ranch.
All right, so let's give another shout out to Jane Sanders.
Yeah, baby.
Nina Turner.
Yeah, baby.
Roseann Demoro.
Yeah, baby.
Now, I don't know how many of you watch Vampire Diaries. Right? I'm telling you who our next speaker is.
Yeah. What about How to Get Away with Murder?
How to Get Away with Murder. No. Yeah. Huh? The short.
You're shirtless. No, he has a shirt on tonight.
Okay, I think. All right, you never know who's going to come out from behind that curtain. That's what I'm beginning to feel like. This was organized, by the way. It kind of went to hell, but it was organized. We'll be good tomorrow night when Bernie's here, though. Promise. Or not.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm asking Kendrick Sampson to come out here, the actor, and join us. Kendrick. Where'd he go?
Here he is.
There he is.
Yeah.
We kept you waiting. We kept you waiting long enough.
I was enjoying that.
So Kendrick is going to be giving you a sample, and it's really a profound experience, and you'll hear from so many incredibly talented people tomorrow night, but this is going to be a sample of their work. So we could dim the lights a little bit. Is that good for you?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Dim the lights. Dim the lights for a little Howard Zinn. These are his words, by the way. His words. I start from the supposition that the world is topsy-turvy, that things are all wrong, that the wrong people are in jail and the wrong people are out of jail, that the wrong people are in power and the wrong people are out of power, that the wealth is distributed in this country and the world in such a way as not simply to require small reform, but to require a drastic reallocation of wealth. I start from the supposition that we don't have to say too much about this, because all we have to do is think about the state of the world today and realize that things are all upside down. If you don't think, if you just listen to TV and read scholarly things, you actually begin to think that things are not so bad, or that just little things are wrong. But you have to get a little detached and then come back and look at the world, and you are horrified. So we have to start from that supposition, that things are really topsy-turvy, and our topic is topsy-turvy, civil disobedience. As soon as you say the topic is civil disobedience, you are saying our problem is civil disobedience. That is not our problem. Our problem is civil obedience. Our problem is the numbers of people all over the world who have obeyed the dictates of the leaders of their government and have gone to war, and millions have been killed because of this obedience. We recognize this for Nazi Germany. We know that the problem there was obedience, that the people obeyed Hitler. People obeyed. That was wrong. They should have challenged, and they should have resisted. And if we were only there, we would have showed them. Even in Stalin's Russia, we can understand that people are obedient. All these herd-like people. Remember those bad old days when people were exploited by feudalism? Everything was terrible in the Middle Ages, but now we have Western civilization, the rule of law. The rule of law has regularized and maximized the injustice that existed before rule of law. That is what the rule of law has done. When in all nations of the world, the rule of law is the darling of the leaders and the plague of the people, we ought to begin to recognize this. We have to transcend these national boundaries in our thinking. Nixon and Brezhnev have much more in common with one another than we have with Nixon. J. Edgar Hoover has far more in common with the head of the Soviet secret police than he has with us. It's the international dedication to law and order that binds the leaders of all countries in a comradely bond. That's why we are always surprised when they get together. They smile, they shake hands, they smoke cigars. They really like each other, no matter what they say. What we are trying to do, I assume, is really to get back to the principles and aims and spirit of the Declaration of Independence. The spirit is resistance to illegitimate authority and to forces that deprive people of their life and liberty and right to pursue happiness. And therefore, under these conditions, it urges the right to alter or abolish their current form of government. And the stress had been on abolish. But to establish the principles of the Declaration of Independence, we are going to need to go outside of the law, to stop obeying the laws that demand killing, or that allocate wealth the way it has been done, or that put people in jail for petty technical offenses and keep other people out of jail for enormous crimes. My hope is that this kind of spirit will take place not just in this country, but in other countries, because they all need it. People in all countries need the spirit of disobedience to the state, which is not a metaphysical thing, but a thing of force and wealth. And we need a kind of declaration of interdependence among people in all countries of the world who are striving for the same thing. Thank you.
So you'll hear him and several other incredibly talented actors and actresses and singers tomorrow night in this theater following Bernie Sanders. So the organization that sparked the battle against Keystone Pipeline, Bill McKibben, head of 350.org, is here. Bill, come on out. Come on out. Bill McKibben. Bill also was on the campaign trail with us with Bernie on our journey with Bernie. So, Bill? Like family. We got a great family, don't we?
That's it. Thank you so much. Look, you're almost to be released. I'm almost the last person you got to talk to, and my job's to introduce this really powerful movie that you're going to see in a little while, okay? And back, it's Friday night, movie night. Sit back and relax. But first, I'm going to talk for just a minute because I'm in that kind of mood. I'm actually kind of charged up tonight. There's a few things to be really happy about. I watched I stayed up last night watching the TV, watching the election returns from the UK, and it was like I was like, oh, and now it's going to be Islington North, you know, who's going to win? I don't even know where it is, you know, but I was like, and I was reading the New York Times today where they were describing, they had to explain to everybody who this guy, Jeremy Corbyn, was that no one thought was going to, you know, do anything and whatever. And of course, what it said in the Times was, much like Bernie Sanders, he's a grizzled firebrand who appeals to youth, okay? So I would just like to say, speaking on behalf of all the other grizzled people who are here, it's been a good year for grizzledness, you know. On we go. And then today, I had a newspaper, and Donald Trump said that he 100% wants to testify under oath about what's going on. And I tell you, I 100% want to watch when he does. And I hope the first question, 100%, is, what the hell are you doing? You know? So those are things to be happy about, and having you all here is something to be happy about. It was, you know, I walked in the door and I saw the sign for the People's Summit, and just the name was great. Every year, you know, the Koch brothers host this big, they call it the Money Summit out in Palm Springs, and they bring in 40 or 50, the richest people in the country who think that they're going to figure out what our politics are going to be for the year to come, and too often they have. Well, no more. When we fight, we win, and now we're ready to fight. Happy as we are, it's important to remember that there are a lot of people around this country and this world who are scared and unhappy tonight. There are people who are literally staying in their houses because they're scared that ICE is going to find them and send them away, okay? And that is not okay. There are people who are in a panic tonight because they've heard that the federal government wants to cut $800 billion out of Medicare, and they're thinking, I'm going to get tossed out of the nursing home where I am. And it is not okay to panic old people about that kind of thing. There are brothers and sisters of ours in places like in Pakistan, where last week they had a big heat wave, and we think they set a new temperature record for this planet. The temperature in some of those cities in Pakistan last week was 129 degrees Fahrenheit. I mean, we've got the best nurses in the world here, but there's nothing you can do for people. I mean, 129 degrees is too hot if it stays for very long for people to live, and yet that's the world we're building, and we can't let it happen. And it's not just someone else, someplace else. Everybody on the planet is in this boat together. Sometime in the next couple of weeks, an iceberg the size of the state of Delaware is supposed to break off the Larsen ice shelf in the Antarctic. That affects every single one of us in every corner of this earth. For the first time ever, we really do have to figure out how we're all going to work together. Now, that's made harder for the moment, because for the moment, power in this country is in the hands of people who got it by skullduggery and are abusing that power every day. The president, a week ago today, when he pulled out of the Paris Accords, he said that he had done it. His people said proudly they'd done it without ever even having a conversation about climate change or not. They just knew they wanted out. Think about that for a minute. We learned today that Exxon may have erased, accidentally they said, 7 years worth of emails that Rex Tillerson recorded under an alias. He used the alias Wayne Tracker to talk about important things back. Well, apparently they erased all those. The people who run this country at the moment, the only thing they know about justice is how to obstruct it, period. So, our job is to get the country back from them, to get it back just as soon as we can, and the only way that we can do that is to build the kind of movements that we are building, all right? And that's what the movie that you're going to see tonight is about. It's about the movement that's been building for years now. Y'all are the stars of this movie. By rights, you should all be, out on the red carpet in some kind of fancy gown, or tuxedo or whatever. You're the stars. But it's good to sit back every once in a while and just watch and remember what it is that we've done so far. Because, in a way, the hardest part of this work sometimes can be wondering if you're actually kind of alone or part of a fringe or something like that. I remember the day, and it must have been just about 2 years ago to the day, that Bernie announced his campaign for president in Burlington in Vermont. I had the honor of getting to introduce him that day, me and Ben and Jerry. It was a picture-perfect day up against Lake Champlain, and there was indeed free ice cream. And Bernie gave a terrific speech, the same speech that y'all have heard several times. So it was a great day, but some part of me, I confess, thought that maybe the 5,000 people who came out that day to hear him speak might be the biggest crowd he would get in the course of his campaign. Because he was at 2% or something in the polls, It was a joke. It was a fringe. It was on the margin. No one took it seriously. Oh, me of little faith, It turned out that we're actually, once someone stood up to kind of point it out, we're actually in the majority in this country. There's nothing strange about the ideas in this room. It turns out most Americans think that people should have access to decent medical care. It turns out that most Americans think the time has come to end racist policing and live together as a country. It turns out that most Americans really are worried that we're taking the planet over a cliff and want us to stop. And I got to say, the high point for me, in a sense, of the whole year was just in one of those first debates when someone said to ask Bernie, what's the most important problem in the world? And without blinking an eye, he said, well, climate change, of course, because of course it is the biggest. And all the pundits said, oh, that was a mistake and whatever, you're supposed to say something. Look, people not only can take the truth about all these things, people are desperately hungry for the truth about all these things. And when we stand up and tell the truth, then we're in a good place. So, all of our movements have got to be like that, more and more all the time, as hard-hitting and as fast-paced and as full of love and compassion and a certain amount of anger and a lot of joy, okay? That's what makes movements work. And that's what we're going to look at tonight. This movie's really something, okay? Now, I've been hearing about it for a long time. Jacob Smith, the force behind it, started emailing me, I don't know, sometime in 2015, saying, we're making this movie, we need to crowdfund it, we need to get people engaged, whatever, and it was absolutely right. He and his colleague, Catherine Goldman, are going to be here at the end, after the movie, to do a question and answer to talk about it. Before it begins, y'all are supposed to go out, I think, and get some popcorn because that's what we do on Friday night. But really, really what we do now on weekends, and that's why I'm so glad you're here. I mean, for the foreseeable future, weekends are for fighting fascism, you know, and it is such a pleasure to be in the company of fighters. On we go, guys.
What y'all trying to do?